was gonna do plumbing,
Uh-huh.
but I was like, on the day of that I was supposed to do plumbing, like I was supposed to start the program, I was like, I'm not doing this. I don't see myself doing it, so I dropped out.
What up, guys? Dizzy Podcast Episode 2. Only 9 months after the first episode. We stay on track with our upload schedules out here. Very special guest today. We got the quarter note goat, the quad god, the banana man himself, USAYBFLOW. How you doing today, bro?
Yo, my dude, what's up? How are you? It's an honor to be on here. I've only done like a few interviews before in my life, and I love doing them. It's great. So I'm honored to be on your podcast.
Dude, I'm stoked to have you on. I'm kind of put myself in a corner because now I'm like, because everyone was like, I got Mr. Son, and then I'm like, who do you guys want to see next? And they're like, 10 people tagged hostage situation, and I was like, oh god, so I can't just like do it with the homies anymore. I gotta like find cool people. But I guess we really connected because of that video that I made with the dance, and then it got, dude, that video got reposted like 4 times on different accounts, and or I guess I'll have to bleep his name. I don't know if he wants that, but 91 Octane like messaged me, and he was like, dude, this video just won't die. Like, what's going on?
It did so well too. It did so well. Like many like RIDDIM pages posted it. People
I know,
shared the shit out of it.
So cool.
Yeah. Crazy.
Were you like, was that something you noticed that you do before I made that video or no?
I don't even know. Like I just kind of, it's just something that I just developed over time. I don't know. I didn't even really notice it like naturally. Yeah. You know, RIDDIM as obviously as a whole is very bouncy and, you know, groovy as it is. And I guess in like a few videos like that you put in your video, I was like, oh, I guess it's like a recurring dance that I do. And I was like, okay.
We got to come up with like a name for it or something, like the banana split. Or
I think people have been, the banana, people call it the shimmy. People are calling it like the shimmy or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is pretty much what it is.
Okay.
It's like a little shimmy. So you're based in Canada. What part of Canada?
So I've been in Toronto all my life, but I recently, within the last 5 months, just moved to Montreal in Quebec.
Montreal. That's right. I know it's hard to say because, you know, you've only been in one place, but like based on people you talk to from like the US or like different cities, would you say it's like easier or harder or like kind of the same, like starting in Toronto or like just Canada in general?
I think the scene in Canada is very large as a whole. I think Toronto has a really great rave scene because you'll have every event that just like the same people will always go to no matter what. But I feel like even just being here and like actually living here and seeing the bass scene in Montreal specifically, it's crazy. It's like honestly 10 times more, people are 10 times more passionate here. And obviously you probably, people listening to this and you've probably heard it floating around that this like Montreal is the bass capital and like Denver is the bass capital and stuff like that. It like Montreal really is like the bass capital, at least top 3 at absolute least.
Is it smaller than Toronto? I'm a fucking American. So
no, it's no, it's Montreal's quite small. Like, I mean, Toronto, I think the scene is quite large, but it's also kind of small. But Montreal's like just as a whole is small as well because it's you know,
that kind of strikes me as similar to kind of like LA versus Denver with the US kind of equivalent because it's like LA obviously is huge and like entertainment industry in general, everyone's like, you know, LA is where it's at, and like, you know, some of my friends are based in LA and they get like, when I had 91 Octane out here to do the show here in Portland, it was like he was telling me about, you know, their venues they have out there, and he'll be like, yeah, we have these like pretty much someone getting started can get into like a 5,000 capacity venue like no problem, whereas out here we like barely have any 5,000 capacity. But yeah, that's like kind of similar because Denver isn't it relatively small like city as well, and that's like the same in Portland, like which actually I might as well ask you that now because I was curious, because I remember at the 45E show you were like, and I'm sure every artist says this about every city in some capacity, but I feel like I notice it as a pretty common thread. People are like, dude, I didn't even realize like you guys go this hard. And I think because Portland is such a small city compared to bigger cities in the US, would you say that like in smaller towns at those like smaller shows, people are like going harder?
It's crazy because I feel like, you know, um, being blessed enough as I am to be able to have done like bigger venues and then like smaller venues as well. Definitely, I think when you're in a smaller venue, I don't know. I would say like the room that I played in 45 East, the smaller room, the Jade
Yeah.
room, I think it was, you know what I mean? I feel like when it's a smaller room like that and you can actually see everybody's face, individually and kind of
Right.
connect with them more, you'll notice that I guess like I don't know per square footage. I guess if you were to really compare it compared to like the big room in 45 East, the
Yeah.
energy is still there for sure. But I think in that small room, not only is it just like sweatier, it's not only louder because obviously
Yeah.
there's less area, and there's like the main room probably has like 1,000 capacity, where the
Yeah.
smaller room at 45 East is like probably 400, maybe 500, half that,
Yeah.
right? And I feel like the energy is just a lot more concentrated in those small rooms. So I personally find that the smaller clubs, the smaller venues, definitely have a lot more energy to them for sure. Um, just like visually looking at
Yeah.
it. Whether you're playing or whether you're a person on the side of the
Yeah.
stage or something or on the in the crowd, like you can. I don't know. That's my personal opinion, but yeah.
Yeah, for like the venues for sure. And then like
Yeah.
I don't know, like obviously I'm biased because it's my city and I like it, but I feel like the kind of because with EDM specifically, like it's great because the biggest artists will come out here, except for like the top 0.1%, like Excision or Subtronics. There's not a big enough venue out here, but like for example, for like music in general, I feel like we kind of get skipped over sometimes because Seattle's right there. And so they're just like, oh, we'll
Right.
make this whole other stop for this like venue that doesn't have enough people or capacity. So then like I feel like the EDM community specifically out here gets more stoked because it's like, oh, these mainstream artists that I don't like or that I listen to and I like aren't coming out here, so we get the bigger
Yeah.
productions and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's a bit unfortunate for sure because there's places in Canada that don't really get visited in terms of
Right.
you know like EDM shows. When there is, it's like everyone will go to it. I think the same thing kind of applies. Like, long story short, I went to China in March
Oh,
and played
that's
a
right.
show
Yeah.
there, and I guess and I guess because it's sort of the same idea where it's like artists don't really come there like at all really as often.
Yeah.
Well, obviously because of like COVID and stuff, that really didn't really help at all. But I think just in general, obviously because it's so far away and the whole process to go there is a bit crazy. Um, it's like doesn't matter whether they're a dubstep act or a house
Yeah.
act. It's like people go because it's like people don't come there at all really. You know?
Totally. And that was
Yeah.
Guangzhou, right? That you played in.
Guangzhou, yeah, yeah.
Guangzhou, I don't American part two. I don't know
Yeah,
geography.
I thought it was. Yeah, I think it's pronounced Guangzhou, because at first I was like Guangzhou,
Right.
and I was like I wasn't sure, but then when I was there they corrected me. I was like, okay, got it.
Keep that. Have you ever said the wrong city?
Um,
You don't have to call. You don't have to
no,
call
no, it's
yourself
fine,
out
it's
like
fine.
that.
Even I, I don't think I have, and even if I did, I don't mind like airing it out, but I'm pretty sure I haven't. Like for the
Right.
most part, I just know, I guess, where
Yeah.
I'm going. Like there was, long story short, I actually there was a couple shows ago where I heard someone say like a different city in the state that we weren't at, and I was just like, oh no.
That's like secondhand
Like not even
embarrassment.
just once, not even once. He said like multiple times. I was
Oh
like, oh
no!
god, why isn't
Please.
someone correcting it?
Yeah. Oh my god. That's like a mercy at that point. You gotta be, bro. You're not in this place. You're in this place. It's like, fuck.
I think it was in Florida. We were in like Miami or something, and then the guy on the mic was saying Orlando. I'm like, no,
No, dude. Dude, yeah.
damn, it is
I
what it
feel
is.
like, yeah, like just now I'm starting to think about like probably how easily that could happen. Because, for example, like my first out of state show is coming up and it's in Orange County. And so I'm like mentally
Nice.
rehearsing in my head, like, do not say Portland. do not say it because like I've only played in Portland, so I feel like maybe that's
Yeah.
the highest likelihood for that to happen.
No, it definitely gets like confusing for sure. Especially like if you're doing like a little tour in like let's say Texas or something, and let's say
Yeah,
one night you're playing Dallas and the next time you're playing Houston or something, it could definitely get confusing. Or like yeah, like let's like for example, like you're like an out of state show for the first time. It's like you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's definitely can get confusing. So I hear that for sure.
Even going further into like with like because I imagine especially with playing in China, you're like all backwards. Like, do you ever like super jet lagged or something? You wake up and you're like, what city am I in?
Yeah, I think for China, I was very fortunate because I was able to arrive like a day earlier before I was supposed to play. So I got in at like the day of the show at like 1 a.m. So I was able to like literally just sleep the whole day
Right,
till like dinner time just to fix my
right.
sleeping. And then that night I played, and then just to make sure that it wasn't completely fucked up, I literally just stayed an extra like day or two, and then I left.
Oh, nice.
So
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, so how long, I know it probably varies from like city to city, but like typically how long do you have in each city?
Um, it varies.
Right.
9 times out of 10, it'll be just over 24 hours, maybe a bit
Just over.
less.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a day or so, maybe. Depending on when I get my flights, sometimes it's in and out. I know the last couple shows or so, I've had to do like 12 hours, and I wouldn't even get a hotel. I'd just go from the airport to the show, do the
Just
show,
sleep in
and
the
then
green room or some shit.
um, yeah, no, I couldn't for the life
Oh
of me.
yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. Um, Probably happened for sure, 100%. But
Yeah.
like, there's no way I could do that. So I literally just like I make sure I sleep as much as I can the night before because I
Yeah.
know that I'm not gonna sleep until I get on that plane to come back home.
Totally.
So I'm like, it's okay though. It happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to. Price wise, sometimes flights are too much,
Yeah, totally.
so you gotta sacrifice. But yeah,
It's hard to know from the outside looking in because like I remember like I threw my first quote unquote big show. It was just 91 Octane. So like it was a guy that I knew who wasn't necessarily like, huge touring artist, but you have to buy plane tickets and stuff. And I'm like, you start looking at like the overhead and everything and you're like, oh, okay. So now not to like excuse promoters for what sometimes can be pretty crappy behavior, like, just not treating people right. But you're like, there's so much you have to deal with. And it's like,
yeah,
you can either make so much money in one night or you can just be completely screwed and just out like so much money. Even for like a small show like that, I was stressing. But
yeah. No, I can only imagine like even like the big scale festivals. Obviously, for like the big scale events, they have like a whole
oh yeah, huge teams of
50
people.
plus person team and like that help out and stuff. So it's like it's probably not as stressful, but
Yeah.
no, yeah, for
Speaking of
sure.
big festivals, let's talk about Lost Lands. Was I know you played there before? Yes, dude. The Crater stage, and was that your second time playing Lost Lands or third
That was
time?
my second year.
Second time.
Yeah, it was my
Okay.
second time. Yeah.
And was that back to back? Like, was the first time the year before
The
that? Or
first
was that
time was 2021. It was
okay?
2021, and then um, I went in 2022 and 2023 just as a viewer, as a
Right.
concert goer, and yeah, then I played this year. It was insane. The creator stage is crazy.
Yeah,
Oh my
dude.
god.
That video, I was just watching the video, and you can see like how many people are in the banana suits. Like, what time was your set?
Was that it was either at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. I think it was no. I think it was 2 p.m., I believe. So it was pretty
And
early.
that's like, yeah, one of the I know at Base Canyon, which is the only festival I've been to, that would have been like one of the first couple sets of the day.
Yeah, it was the second set actually. There was a guy before me,
Who was on
and
before you?
then it was me. I think it was Subcharge, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, that's dude,
Subcharge, and then me.
that's awesome. I
Yeah.
that made me want to go to Los Angeles for sure. Like not just your set, obviously like your set was dope, and then like also seeing like all the other artists that I watch and like just going to Base Canyon my first year this year, I was like, dude, but then it's like you have to fly to Ohio and
It's far,
do
especially if you're
all
like
on the
at
West
like the
Coast.
area that you're in, like the West
Yeah,
Coast. It's a lot.
it's a trek. But I guess kind of a little bit of the same topic. Like, how does that, when you're actually playing the festival, like, how does that compare to like a typical city? Like, did you stay for like the whole duration of the festival just to hang out and stuff? Did they get you your own little like place to crash and stuff in the?
Yeah, yeah. So I ended up getting an Airbnb with some friends and my
Oh,
girlfriend,
okay.
and I played on the Thursday, so I was on technically day two because the Wednesday was technically the day one. Um, and yeah, I was there from the Wednesday. I played on Thursday early, and then I was there the entirety until Monday. So yeah, I mean, Lost Lands is an unbeatable experience. Like it's unreal. Obviously, you have like Tomorrowland and Rampage that are just completely
Right.
different. But like I think Lost Lands for the genre that we're in and for the
Oh
caliber that
yeah,
it's at, it's yeah, it's insane. It's insane.
absolutely.
Highly recommend.
Yeah. I noticed like yours maybe wasn't quite as bad because just where the sun was at, like it looks like the decks were mostly covered. But then I saw
Yeah.
was it still pretty difficult to see what you were doing?
So first of all, the heat was unbearable.
Oh my god. How hot was it?
I came to a couple of times. I think it was well because you guys measure in Fahrenheit and I'm Canadian, so
Freedom
it's in
unit.
Celsius. So you
Donuts
guys
per
can
bald
do
eagle only. I could do a little Google.
the yeah, fair. It was like maybe 35 Celsius,
35 is
36.
95 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
Yeah, it was pretty hot, dude. There was a couple times in my set where I was like literally I had to like slow down myself because I was like almost I felt like fainting at some points because I was like it was hot.
Oh
It
my
was so
god.
hot.
Was
Um,
even like the dust up there bad or was it like
no, it was a bit better just because you're obviously like you're not on like the same
yeah.
like height level as the other people that are like obviously dancing and kicking around the dust.
Yeah.
Um, but no, but also the decks were pretty easy to see. Thankfully, that little tarp thing was over it. To be honest,
Yeah.
because if not, it would have definitely been hard. But I think for the taller people, um, you had to kind of like duck down and do one of these,
Yeah.
um, which is fine. Like, I mean, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But like, no, it was definitely a plus for sure because if they weren't on there, the sun would have just
Oh my
completely
god.
like I would say the CDJ 3000 screen is quite bright, but if you didn't have
Right.
that cover over it, it would have been over.
Yeah, or even like older CDJs to be honest, like with not as good screens
Oh,
on them. Or like the guys who were wearing masks like I was watching them like in their
oh my
videos.
god,
Dude,
yeah, dude.
I've
If you're wearing a mask and you're up there, yeah, it's wraps. That's
I
crazy.
I tried just as like a messing around and I had this little like basically like a I can actually grab it. It's like this little just this like thin fabric that I wore just at this
Okay,
like
okay,
local show in this abandoned place. Um with the hood over it, I was just like,
yeah,
fuck it. It lasted
yeah.
about a minute and a half. I was like, fuck this. I need to see I can dude.
There's no way, bro. There's no way. I'm okay. I'm very thankful I didn't I wasn't I didn't have to. No, no, not didn't have to because obviously some people prefer to have a mask on, you know what I mean? Because
Right.
sometimes, it's just what they want to do with their branding and stuff like that, which I totally respect, but I feel like just that idea of especially something like Lost Lands when you're just in the blaring heat, no coverage at all and you're just like in a
Oh my
mask, like a
god.
full bodysuit. I'm like, I just can't. I can't. It's too much.
The yeah, even like the banana suit. I mean, it looks a little bit like thinner, but like I've worn one of
No, it's
those
still
for
hot.
Halloween. Yeah,
I that's why I partly kind of not like retired the suit and wearing it
right.
from shows. Like I'll probably wear it every like big show
Hmm.
maybe for a little bit, but I just feel like it's just too hot. There was points where it's just like too hot, especially if there's no like fan up there helping you out or
Yeah.
any air condition or outdoor and it's blaring sun. Like I just no, it's too
Is
much.
that something you've had like the whole banana thing? Is that because I did yesterday do a little bit of stalking, but I didn't make it all the way back to the beginning. Is that like from when you first started your project, you wanted to just have that theme in there, or did it just kind of happen? What's the story behind the
So it
banana
kind of
suit? The banana
yo.
war.
Okay, so no, I started the project about 9 years ago, coming on 10 years. I started in like 2015, maybe late 2014. And I didn't really have a branding or anything like that for the first like 2, 3 ish years, maybe four.
Mhm.
Um, and long story short, the way that I came up with the name was when I was in college, like maybe 4 ish, 5 years ago. I was like, okay, I want a DJ name, and I think when I was in college, the professors used to, when they were marking attendance or whatever, they would always just call their students, or at least the teachers that I had, called everybody by their last name. So my last name is Eusebio.
Mhm.
It's Portuguese, so that's kind of like the Canadian way of saying it. So everyone in the class and everyone that I knew in college called me Eusebio, and they kind of found out that I was DJing and like trying to start that up. And one of my friends at the time, I guess, just called me USAYBFLOW randomly, and I don't know
Yeah,
like where it came from. Obviously, because it's like obviously my last name
pretty
instead of
close. Yeah,
USABO, it's yeah. So I was just like, okay, interesting. So um, I was kind of like iffy on like what I should name my project, and then he said that, and I was just like, okay, let's stick with that. And I think after a year of having that, I just decided to keep it because I was like, maybe I should change it. But I was like,
yeah.
no, it's unique to me. I'm gonna keep it.
I feel like
Um,
everyone goes through that phase of like, nah, this is like I can't stick with this. I gotta find something better.
yeah, no, for sure. I definitely like was like, should I go with something more like generic? Should I do something more like, recognizable? But I was like, no, I gotta be unique. So I was like,
Yeah,
let's do that. And then with the whole banana thing, I had this like older group of friends that I guess like used to. It was more so like friendly joking, but
yeah,
like or friendly banter. But they used to like call me a monkey because I had like my long hair and my beard at the time or whatever,
yeah.
right? So I did a live stream set in 2020, I think, and one of those friends put like the banana emojis in
Uh
the
huh.
the chat of the Twitch stream, and I was like, okay, interesting. So then I kind of just stuck with it, and then it ended up just snowballing into me getting a banana suit, and
Eating
then I was like,
bananas on
okay,
stage,
yeah, eating bananas on stage. I have
dude.
countless amount of photos that are just me eating a banana on stage.
Do people like
Um,
give you
I've
bananas?
been, yeah, all the time. Fake ones, real ones.
Dude.
Recently, I had someone give me like this banana duck like squishmallow thing that now I
Oh,
have on my
nice.
bed. It's great. Um, and yeah, it just became my brand. It was very unexpected. I don't know
Yeah,
how it came about, but that's kind of the origin story.
nice.
Yeah.
Um, and so you said you were in college when you started. That's interesting because I kind of was
Yes.
too. I like did it in high school. Then COVID happened. I just kind of forgot about it. And then when I went to college, I was like, oh, dude, it would be crazy. Now there's like all these dorm parties and house parties. Imagine if I DJ'd a dorm party with like 20 people in it. That would be crazy, right? And then here we are
Yo,
doing this. What were you in school for?
crazy. So in terms of college, I did two different programs. At first, I did um, like the trades. So basically, it
Right.
was a year of like learning the basics of like plumbing and carpentry and HVAC and air conditioning, like that
Uh
kind
huh.
of thing. And then I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. So I went into, I was gonna do plumbing,
Uh huh.
but I was like, on the day of that I was supposed to do plumbing, like I was supposed to start the program. I was like, I'm not doing this. I don't see myself doing it. So I dropped out. Well, technically not because I didn't start it yet, but it was the day of I was supposed to start.
Right.
I was like, nope, I don't want to do it.
No plumbing for
Um,
Mr. Eusebio. From there,
oh, go ahead.
you just kept
Yeah,
with the
no. So then
music.
from there, yeah, well, like so then from there, I decided to try and do like health and fitness because um, I was like, okay, I got to do something. So I was like,
Right.
I took a year off, and then I did health and fitness promotion. I think was the name of the program for like 2 years. Um, and then I got pretty good grades. And then I was like, I don't know. It's good to have this under my belt, but I was like, I kind of want to just, you know, have my job at the time, which was like a grocery store, and then just do music.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, we'll see what happens. I dedicated my whole time to it. Still doing that now, but like now it's like my full time thing. That's kind of
Yeah.
sick.
Were you always going towards like rhythm and dubstep, like that subgenre specifically, or did you ever like bounce around? Like when you very first started out, was it always like I want to DJ bass music, or were you just kind of messing around with different ones?
I was kind of messing around with different ones. I started off doing house music mixes for a while, for the
Yeah.
first like 3-ish years, but then I started dabbling into doing like not only house mixes but dubstep ones. Um, and I That's when I kind of fell more in love with dubstep, and I kind of noticed that the whenever I do like house and dubstep mixes like separately, and I noticed that the dubstep ones were kind of getting more like attention. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna
Mhm.
gravitate towards the
Right.
dubstep stuff. So I started off with house, and then it kind of
Okay.
went into
Cool. Would you ever? Because
dubstep.
obviously now there's tons of artists doing like you had like the sudden death. Was it sudden death Subtronics and someone else? I think they did like a giant house set. Would you ever want to do that, like just for a set or something like that? Is that something that still interests you?
I I would if the opportunity came around. I tried once, I think, and it was like a last minute set, and next to no one pulled up. It was
Oh
like a super last minute show. It was like
yeah.
2 years ago. Um, and like I think like no, there was like maybe 5 to 10 people for my house set, maybe if I'm being generous.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I was still vibing, of course. Like
Yeah.
my girlfriend was with me. Like it was a good time. It was a good time. Like I
Yeah.
can't lie. Would I do it again? Yes. Would I do it again?
For sure. It's not, but it sounds like it's not something where you're
Yeah.
like, this is the next phase of. Yeah.
No. Oh, you never know. I'm not ruling it out. I mean, you never know. I could
Yeah.
make another alias that's house. People are kind of doing that. Like Wooly with Stumpy and Lays with Sabritas and stuff like that. So it's a
Right.
thing.
Totally.
So never
Yeah.
know.
The door's always open. And yeah,
Yeah.
I feel that though too, like just because like I don't know, I feel like most people have a pretty good mindset, like especially like for example here in Portland, obviously it's a smaller city, so a lot of people play to like a room of either no one or like a couple of their friends, but you don't really see people that are like there sucks, there's nobody. I mean, obviously every once in a while you get somebody
Yeah.
like that, but they don't last very long. But yeah, that's
Fair.
what I feel like so many people want to do it. It's just because no matter what the outcome is, it's always a fun time. Um,
Yeah. You mean like doing shows in general, or you mean like
yeah,
house
like
sets?
just or doing shows in general. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
let's see.
I have this like saying that I've been saying ever since I like started. Like especially when I started doing dubstep, I kind of live by it no matter what. It's like, and I tweeted about it like recently. It's like whether there's like 5 people or 5,000 people, you got to put on a show because like those
Absolutely.
people, they paid money to go see you. It's like you got to give them a show no matter if they're, you know what I mean. So
Yeah,
I always take that to heart, and I think it's very crucial because you want to not only impress the people that are there, but also the person that booked you as well, because that kind
yeah,
of plays a part. Um, so yeah, got to give it your all every time. Play every
absolutely.
show like it's your last is what I kind of live by.
Totally agree. That actually kind of brings me to because I feel like not to sound like kind of negative about it because I mean it is true, like that can be pretty draining if you're every time you go to DJ it's like all my energy is going into this. That's why I actually love, like you do this a lot and I kind of like started doing it because of you and like Morbito just posting videos all the time. That and like streaming I find really not just fun to interact with, people online, but also like me personally, I find it to be a great tool of like a different practice mode I get into almost. Where it's like if you're
Right.
streaming, like it has the benefit of keeping you like your brain is like, okay, people are watching. I got to keep a flow going. I can't just fuck around and like not care how this
Right.
sounds, but then it also takes the pressure off because nobody's actually right there with you. That's why I started streaming on TikTok a lot, is because it's like it is almost just forcing you to be more productive and like getting in a better flow state. I don't know. I feel like you used to do some streams on like Facebook, right? Like the
Yeah,
green screen and stuff.
I still do them kind of. Yeah, I still do them like occasionally, not with the green
Right.
screen anymore. I felt like that had its time, at least for me.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's always great to kind of sort of like be involved with the community as much as you can, whether it's streaming, whether it's doing content as much as you want, or things like that. But yeah, I think live streams are great, like especially on TikTok, like you said. I think because that's kind of the I would say right now is kind of like, or at least for the last little while, is like the main app that I think people are always on, or like
Yeah.
over the other any of the other apps. So it's like, and I think that's obviously when you stream on Instagram and you stream on Facebook, it's like those are to your followers and to
Yeah.
who's following you. But I feel like with TikTok, it's like you can reach a much broader audience because with hashtags and just being live public on your page, you can reach a whole different like fan base there. So I think it's
Yeah.
great.
Totally agree. And actually, like, that's actually what got me started. Like, that pushed me from just being like, I'll do this as like my college hobby, to like quitting college, getting a not. I mean, I hated college. Like, I was gonna quit regardless, just for what I was studying, computer
Fair.
science. I was like, I hate this. Um,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, computer science and online, even though I was at college, which was like, I'm like, what am I doing,
Online.
bro? I know, online. I was living in the dorms, bro. I was living in a different city, and then I'm like, I go to my advisor. I'm like, hey, so like, what is going on? They're like, well, because of COVID. I'm like, it was 2022. I'm like, yeah. Anyways, that
Oh,
tangent, but yeah, I could go on for hours about how stupid that was. But yeah, like I was doing a couple
oh that.
little like live streams on TikTok, literally with just like, dude, I think I had like my roommate had this like sound bar for like a TV, like not a not even a regular speaker at all. I just plugged that shit
Yeah.
into my Rev 1 and just turned the phone on TikTok. And then like it would be like 5 to 10 people in there, and I, you know, even now
Right.
sometimes like 5 to 10 sustained viewers on a live stream is like pretty good, depending on like how often I'm
Agreed.
streaming in my case. But I was like, dude,
Yeah.
like people were commenting, and I was like, this is so cool. And then actually, Bernsekiel was in my like one of my first like 3 live streams ever, and he was like, oh,
Oh
dude, keep it up. I was like, this is a bot. Like that was my first thought. I was like, this is some like bot trying to sell me like 2,000 followers for $150 or something. I go to his profile, and he's like,
God.
it's actually Ezekiel. I didn't even know who he was at the time, and I was like, okay, so maybe this is something, you know, which is so cool. That's
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
you're like, I've heard from my friends as well, like you're in people's live streams a lot, and I feel like the impact that that has is in a lot of cases can be bigger than people realize.
For sure.
Um,
I definitely had moments where I'm on scrolling on TikTok and whether it be someone I'm following or someone that I'm stumbling upon that's playing like RIDDIM or something, um, I'll just join and I'll just listen for a couple drops. I don't
yeah,
know, just cause I'm just like, why not? And whether that makes someone's day or not, or just I love the genre a lot. So
yeah,
and everything that it's about. So I always just
yeah.
like to see what people are up to. It's good.
Totally. I feel like even also then, like no matter what level you're at, you can get ideas from that. Cause like I've seen some videos that have like 2 likes, and it's like the craziest drop you've ever seen, and you're just like,
Yeah.
bro, give me those
Yeah.
songs right now.
Yeah.
um
There's a guy. Yeah. There's this one guy. I think he's based in Michigan. I think his name is Spasm, but with a Z.
yeah, dude,
I
I
think
follow him
starting
too.
his name Z like Z Pasm or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, dude, I
Um,
know who you're talking about.
yeah, and like, and I've joined some of his live streams, and he's really good, and he has like 500 followers or something. Like, he's really good, to be fair.
I know. Yeah,
So
that's what
crazy.
like is a pretty good time to come into this topic, because this can be pretty controversial, is creating content like you were talking about. Because dude, there's like, I swear every day I read a tweet from some bigger artists who are like on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, one side or the other. They're like, the fact that we have to create content is ridiculous. Like, we have to just feed the algorithm now. And then other people are like, sucks to suck. But I feel like people kind of look at it from a weird mindset, because like, in my opinion, like, I personally enjoy the process of making content. Obviously, you know, I have all these other side projects besides actually like mixing and making music, so I guess I'm
Yes.
lucky in that regard. That's one thing that I see people saying is like, if you don't enjoy it, you shouldn't be doing it. Because like you said, like, there's these guys who are goated and really good DJs, but they just like, they don't put all this energy, which is very understandable. I mean, like, you don't have like hours and hours to be like trimming and editing videos and stuff.
Right.
I noticed you do put out like, obviously after this much time doing it, have you picked up any like tips as far as like ways to be efficient and like save time and still make something that you feel like good about the result of it, especially on like shorts and stuff like that?
I think obviously everyone has a different way of working and planning their releases and their content or
Right.
whatever. I kind of work on a weird schedule where I kind of just do that video for that day and then that's it. It's not really that healthy, and it's probably better you record like 3 or 4 or 5 videos in
Right.
advance so you don't have to worry. And that just takes time. But I think it's just, when it comes to doing content and just being consistent nowadays, I think it's, to some people it's fortunate. Like, I would say, like you said, for yourself, I would say for me as well, because I also was a person that came from doing content back in the day. Like, I used to be, this is probably going to open up a can of worms, but I was a Minecraft YouTuber.
Yes, let's go.
I was in college.
Same, bro.
Yeah.
Yes. Dude,
Yo,
the Minecraft YouTuber to DJ pipeline is real.
We're not
Dude,
the only ones, I guarantee you.
Let's go. Dude, drop a like right now if you ever made a
crazy.
Minecraft video in your life, bro. I swear to God, that's going to be a lot of people. That's going to be a lot. Bro, we need to
I hate
start
that's
a
thing. I
Minecraft
hate-
server.
Yo, that'd be sick. A realm? Yo, meet me in the realm, bro.
Bro, let's go. The Lost Lands lineup of single player survival, or no, what is it called? Multiplayer survival, like Minecraft world, bro. Get fucking
Just like,
everyone.
Yeah. Yo, that'd be kind of fire. No, yes, that's hilarious. I love that. Hell yeah. Shout out Minecraft.
Shout out Minecraft for real.
So I did Minecraft for a little while, and then before that I was on Call of Duty teams. Like, I used to trick shot and quick scope and put out episodes on. I was in clans and stuff like that. Like, so I'm kind of used to editing and making content. So my brain is kind of already wired that way. So I'm very fortunate. But coming back to what I said earlier, it's kind of like, that's just how the industry is nowadays. You kind of have to be a quote unquote influencer at this day and age. And, I think something that helped me a lot, especially like now, and like, I guess when I initially started getting a little bit more traction back in COVID days, was just being in people's faces, like all the time. Because I think that just like sets you apart from everyone else. Because, because like in 2020, I was doing live stream after live stream every weekend. I was putting out, those videos every day. I still do those every day, just because I feel like, you just have to be in people's faces. And it's like, that's, people are always on their phone. People are always scrolling, doom scrolling, brain rot scrolling, so it's just like, that's the number one thing. Be in people's faces, put out content as much as you can. Like, obviously you have artists and people now that, their branding and their route isn't really to go that way, or they don't really feel comfortable to put themselves out there. And I think that's unfortunately hindering a lot of people's potentials, because I tweeted about it. Like, I feel like a lot of artists, like underground artists that have literally the best music
Right.
ever that are getting like maybe 1,000 hearts, 1,000 views,
Yeah.
but their social media game is just not up to standard because they don't want to or they don't feel comfortable
Yeah.
to, and that's the unfortunate part of the state of the industry right now. But
Yeah.
you just it's just that's something that comes with it. You have to learn to adapt at the end of the day too,
Yeah.
right? Um,
Yeah. Well, that's, I mean, the way that I view it as well, it's like, you know, there's definitely like, I feel like a lot of people look at it as a negative, and it's really easy to do that. But then on the other
yeah,
hand, like, it's kind of, it's like just another challenge and a roadblock that you can overcome in your own way. Like, for example, even like those artists you talk about who just don't personally like to do that or enjoy putting themselves out there. I feel like there's other ways to do that that haven't been
100%,
explored yet. I
100%.
mean, there's always
Yeah,
going to be like someone's going to come up with a strategy that people are going to replicate and change in their own way. Like, I don't know,
right.
maybe you might know about this as well if you're from kind of the same background as like Minecraft videos and stuff like that. Like, if you saw Marble
Yeah.
Hornets when it came out, the original like Slender Man web series that like blew up and made it super popular. It was like,
Oh, I haven't heard of it. I haven't heard of it.
it basically like started the whole kind of storyline of like Slender Man finding some videotapes in your closet that are like
Oh,
weird
yeah, yeah,
looking.
yeah,
And they did this whole like interactive thing where like they had multiple YouTube accounts posting these like cryptic videos and like Twitter accounts that were like for the different characters in the series that were like saying what they were doing. I feel like somebody's going to do
yeah. Right.
that at some point, and it's going to do really well, but you just have to find the right way to implement it, I feel like. And that,
Exactly.
you can do that while not being like, "Hey guys, stop scrolling. Check this out." You know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's
It's not.
even
Yeah, it
like,
doesn't have to be like that.
no, exactly. I agree 100%. Like, even though like for example, like you talked about the way you make videos as being like not healthy, but I feel like in some ways I almost like disagree with that statement, that part of it, because if that's the way that you do it, that's the best way to do
Yeah.
it. Like, because I'm
Right.
kind of the same way. Like, I always tell myself, I'm like, okay, sometime in the next week or two, I'm just gonna set aside like 8 hours and grind out a bunch of videos. But then like
Right.
those aren't your best like sessions, and it's gonna feel forced. And
Yeah.
at least for me, like if that's the way that your
Mm.
brain works best, then that's an advantage, honestly, because you can save time. But like I definitely
Yeah.
create content the same way as you do, where I'm like just by myself, like practicing something, and then I end up, you know, creating like a really good routine, and then I'm like, I gotta record this shit right now. I gotta put this out there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. But then it's like, even if you record, like, let's say 5 to 10 videos, and you're like, yes, I'm set. I don't have to worry about it. You may go back to like 2, 3 days later. You may go
yeah,
back to one of those 10 videos and maybe like, I don't know if I really like that, and it's like you have to refilm it, like
exactly.
it's just, you know what I mean. So obviously, there's some instances, like for example, for long story short, for me, I'm going to be going out of town for like a week, starting tomorrow, so I have to film like 2 or 3
Right.
short videos today. So in certain instances, it's just how it is and how it has to work. So I'm prepared and ready to just keep consistent throughout the
Yeah.
time I'm away. Um, but um, yeah, who's to say, next week when I'm out of town, like load up one of my chop videos and I'm like, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I really like it.
Yeah.
You know,
100%. Because like that
but
was
it is what it is.
literally the same thing. Like similar just happened to me. Like that the part two video of the dances impressions that I made with Zuba.
Yeah,
Who else did I do?
which is great, by
Funktails.
the way.
Oh, thank you.
Great.
I filmed a part three with that, but then I just haven't even edited it because I'm like, I didn't get it right. Like I didn't find the right clips. Like I have to go back and refilm this thing entirely again.
Gotcha.
So, sometimes
Yeah.
it works, sometimes it doesn't.
It's
But
a content creator. We're content creators.
yes,
It's how it is.
I mean, music is
It's
technically content if you think about it in some ways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
I agree.
let's see. But going back to like getting started, going from like from house or just variety to dubstep, was there, I know for me personally, I have certain moments or like artists or even specific videos from artists that are like, oh, this is what to strive towards. Like, this is what I like. I want to do that. Like, was there a specific
Right.
artist or set or album or tune or whatever? Or like, I know it's not always one thing,
Um,
but what are some things that come to
right.
mind?
I think collectively for me, it was a bunch of little moments in like 2015, 2016. But I think one of the I would say the main moment was there was a show here, or not here, but in Toronto when I was still living in Toronto, in 2016 at a place called Echo Beach, and it was Dubs headlining, and it was their show called Mount Woozy, and it was like Dubs headlining, Timmy Trumpet, Will Sparks, Carnage when he was still Carnage, um, and I remember specifically there was a moment that I had during Dub's set, like when they were headlining, and it was like the fireworks were going off, the pyro was
Oh yeah,
going crazy, the smoke, the CO2 was going everywhere, like and like them like yelling like 1, 2, 3 or
yeah,
whatever, like all like that whole moment. I was like, I want to do that.
definitely.
I want to be this. I want to be this person and like on the
I want to be
stage
up
that's
there. Yeah,
controlling these mass amounts of people that has all this extra crazy shit. Um, and I was like, yeah, let me try that
totally.
out.
Did
Yeah.
you start producing around the same time, or was it like after you were DJing?
So first it was DJing, and then I started my production journey like maybe a year or two into that, um,
Okay.
and then I stopped doing it for a while just because I was like, I don't. This is like takes a lot of patience. I'm like, I don't know if I can
Yeah.
do this. I realized like a couple years ago, I was like, I really gotta, or 3 years ago, I really gotta like, if I want to set myself apart, I gotta
Yeah.
start making music. So I started again, and then I kind of stopped for a bit, and then within the last year now, I've been kind of going hard with the flips, the originals, the
Yeah.
EPs, and all of that. So
So only the last year you're saying or so is like really going hard and like spending a lot of time in the DAW is what you're saying.
yeah, like just putting my head down and just working on stuff, and just
Yeah.
you know, for the last 6 months, I've been really like trying to put out a song every month or like a flip every month, and I'm still going to be keeping that up. Um, and there's a lot of stuff on the way.
Nice. Yeah. I
Yeah.
I definitely like I feel that 100%, like that experience of just the patience that it takes to especially get
Yeah.
yourself to a point where you can just freely kind of, dude, it's like a language. I feel like for me, like I took Spanish class in high school and it was like always my most dreaded class because it was like it's just one little tiny baby step after another and it's like you don't really learn it. But then after I graduated high school, I ended up like taking a gap year and living in a Spanish speaking country for like a short while, and I was going to classes every
Nice.
day. And then I actually like got to a point where I could pretty much have a conversation. But that process is so like frustrating because I'm at the point with producing where
Yeah.
it's like you need like there's like very rare moments like where everything fits together and then I can like
Yeah.
the end result is something that sounds almost like a song. And even now, like most of the times that that has happened, it ends up like not getting finished. I mean, there's no obviously like three easy steps. I feel like it's just time, right? I mean, you just gotta have time in the DAW.
Yeah. You just gotta. Yeah, you just gotta take your time. Like I feel like that's a huge thing that people don't preach enough. Is just like, of course, if you have deadlines. But I
Right.
think for the most part, like just take your time. Like you have to go at your own pace, and that's something that I'm realizing more and more. There may be 2, 3, 4 weeks that you don't work on anything, and that's
Yeah.
fine. Like you don't. I feel like you won't get the result you want out of a project if you force yourself to do it. I think you
Yeah.
have to kind of, especially like with us being like creatives, you kind of have to find that motivation
Yeah.
through another outlet, whether that be, the gym or going on a walk or, just hanging with friends and family. I think like really, really helps. Um,
Right.
yeah, just gotta take it at your own pace. That's number one, I find. Over anything else, gotta take your time because then you gotta let it flow. Gotta let it
Okay.
flow. Yeah.
Right. So that's almost like not
Anyway,
quite the opposite, but like kind of the opposite almost of like not
kind of.
being like
Yeah.
open your jaw every day and sit there in writer's block for 15 minutes and work on something. It's more like, I mean, definitely consistency, it sounds like you're saying, is a part of it, but
Yeah.
also like
100%. Yeah.
not being like putting pressure on yourself or like forcing something
Yeah.
out. Like a mindset that I've kind of taken recently that I've been trying to work on doing more consistently is like you go you approach I approach it like an exercise almost, where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do something in Ableton. It's gonna sound like shit. I'm not gonna finish anything. It's just gonna like kind of work as an exercise. Or like, did you take
Yeah.
kind of a similar approach to that, or like something else when you this past year really started to
Um,
like do more?
I remember watching a Subtronics interview from like 3, 4 years ago, I think, and he basically said that somewhere along these lines, where um, the moment you start thinking, like let's say you're working on a project, the moment you
Yeah.
start like thinking with your head, you got to stop. And you got to take a break. Because the moment
Right.
you start thinking and you're not in flow state, that's when you got to stop. Because then you're going to start getting angry. You're going to start getting annoyed if something doesn't sound the way you want it to,
Right.
and then it's like a snowball where it's like it doesn't end up. So the I've been noticing I have moments like that, and the moment I notice that, I stop. Whether that be going on to a different project instead or just taking a break. That's it.
Totally.
You know.
So
Yeah.
basically, the less brain cells you have, the better a producer you are. You heard it here,
You know what?
folks.
You heard it here first. Yo, it must have been the Minecraft, bro.
Dude, it was the
Fuck it.
Minecraft. Brain rot equals talent. No, but no, it's like,
Yo,
yeah,
my mind is blown.
I
Anyway.
hear what you're saying for sure. It's like, yeah, not overthinking. I experience that a lot. I think that totally makes sense, and I feel like I almost do kind of implement that in a different way, because it's like when you're in those learning stages, in my experience, you have no choice. Like you have to have engage your thinking brain to be like, okay, what is FM again? Like what does this part do? And so I feel like
Right.
I kind of separate it, and that's what's helped me is like, okay, I'm not trying to like exercise my creative ability right now and like produce an output. I'm trying to just like in to talk about like carpentry or something. It's like you're practicing doing these certain types of cuts or like these certain fastenings and just do it over and over again. And then eventually you'll
Yeah.
be on
Yeah.
a job and you're like, okay, so this part goes here and I got to do that. And I've done that a million times. So that
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
interrupt my flow state.
Yeah. It's like you just got to keep at it because I saw this one like picture. It's not really a meme. It's more of a picture where it's like you have two guys that are perpendicular of each other and they're on their own paths mining away underground to get
Oh, with the
diamonds,
diamonds. Yeah.
like to get to, yeah, with
Yeah.
the prize. And then you see the guy on the bottom like give up completely, and
Yeah.
he was a couple mines away from getting the diamonds, but on the guy on the top is like still like quite a bit away, but he's gonna keep going. You know what I mean?
Totally.
um and I think that that's kind of the mindset to go with, is just kind of, yeah, like you said, just keep at it. There don't really have any sort of expectations. Just create
The
as
process in
your heart
itself.
desires.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. To bring it back to a Minecraft analogy is perfect. um, let's see. There are a
Minecraft.
couple other. Oh yeah, that I feel like we have to cover before we wrap it up here. So the DAW debates
Yeah.
are obviously unending. Did you ever? I know you use FL Studio. Did you ever like experiment with or use any other DAWs at any point, or was it just FL?
No, it was FL the whole time, man. I know people are always like, "Come to Ableton, come on, just do it. Don't even think about it, just do
Yeah.
it." I'm like, I don't know. I know what. Obviously, I don't know FL like through in and throughout, but like I started on it and I was just like, I know what I'm doing on it. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, so I sorry, I know what makes what works for me. So I'm
Yeah.
like, You know what I mean? Like, definitely,
Exactly.
maybe at some point I might try and learn it, but like, I'm pretty set in, my ways with
For
how it
sure.
works. I mean, at the end of the day, they all do the same thing. It's just like what you're most comfortable with at the end of the day. So,
Yeah,
you never
I
know. I
totally
might
agree.
become an
It's not
Ableton
like
head.
I've seen actually a lot of, not a lot, but a few people that use both. Cuz like I feel like it's like a car. It's like, dude, they all do the same thing. They all go down the street. Like it's just about more
Yeah,
of a personal preference thing. Unless you use like
I agree.
Pro Tools, then you no, I was kidding. uh,
Unless you
especially
use Pro Tools.
or like Logic or something or like what's another one?
Oh, those are the only ones I know. I only know Pro Tools and Logic
Pro Tools, Logic,
and Ableton.
Reason, obviously. Um,
Reason, yeah.
dude, the only person I know of who fully uses Reason is Infect. Doesn't he use? I think he uses Reason like as the whole Reason dot. Or am I
Reason,
wrong?
yeah. There's another one recently that he started using. Uh, it's like pretty new. It's gonna bug me. I don't remember the name of it, but it's like I don't even know. I don't even know. I'll
I'll see
figure
if
it
we
out
can
after.
find. Yeah, I'll see if I can Google it and we'll throw it up on the screen here. But yeah,
Yeah.
to play fair to both sides, I
Yes.
what is one thing that you feel like you've seen that Ableton has that FL doesn't, and that you like, or not even that Ableton has that you just like really wish they would put in, but they just aren't. Like for me, that would be like the stems function, like where
Yes.
you can extract stems in the DAW is super nice on FL.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Like FL definitely has that. I think it's like a newer update, but I just physically take a stem out my stuff myself, and I put like
Yeah,
each, like the percussion on one track, and then render that out, and then just I don't know. I bet that's kind of it's probably easier to use the FL button that they added, but I don't know. I'm just kind of used to just
yeah,
stemming it out. It might take a bit longer, but at least I know what I'm stemming out. You know what I mean? It's not
yeah,
like
absolutely.
what the program decides to do. Um, I don't know. I feel like the organization in Ableton is just a lot nicer than FL,
Yeah,
not by much, but I think there's something about the way Ableton sort of laid out and like organized that it just seems a little bit more, I guess, like comprehending to me compared to
yeah.
FL. Like, of course, like I'm more used to FL, but like I don't know, Ableton's organization is definitely, I feel like, a tier above.
I definitely
Um,
agree. Yeah. One thing I've heard it
yeah.
compared to a lot is Premiere Pro, which I grew up on editing on Premiere Pro, and
Okay.
it's like the layout is pretty much the same. It's like you have this corner has, you know, all your media that you input onto the timeline, and then your effects are like obviously Premiere you can customize any way you want. But yeah, for me that's what it was
Yeah.
definitely is like I would use the stock plugins on Ableton like the stock plugins on FL are hands down like several tiers
Great.
above.
So
Like the
good.
vocoder, dude. I remember when I got
Yeah.
back into producing, trying to use Ableton's vocoder, I'm like, this is the worst. It sounds like garbage. I just can't use it. And then the FL
Yeah.
vocoder is like you can do so many things with it, like even beyond just the typical
And
things that you would
Harmer.
do.
Do you know what you gotta know about Harmer, bro? Harmer in
Harm.
FL is sick.
How do you spell that? H-A.
HARMOR.
I do.
So
Oh,
so
oh, yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. I
that
used that.
fucking
Yeah, back when I
makes
had
some sick
FL.
ass synths.
Yeah,
Um um some of like the really great, like really great like stock FX that FL has, like Fruity Delay 2. It makes your
yeah,
sounds like super like metallic-y and like brighter. Um
100%.
and Yeah, and I love the parametric EQ too on FL as well, and it's super dope
Yeah,
because I can just like I don't know, I can see everything. Like, it's just dope. I like it.
yeah. I totally agree. Like
Yeah,
that's what's so much better. But then like yeah, I just never was able to get over it. Even when I'm in Ableton and like I have Serum and then like two maybe VST plugins on the same track, I'm like I want to quit right now. Like it's too many windows.
but
And then the fact that like
yeah,
it's like the stock plugins are all their separate window. I never could get into a good productive state with that.
fair. Pros and cons for both.
Yeah. I feel like there's those people like I don't know if you follow Dang Sauce on Instagram, but he like just has all these
I don't.
crazy sound design videos using like Ableton stock everything and like using all the different making his own plugins and stuff. I feel like that is super powerful, but it's just so, for me at least, just so complicated. I just can't even comprehend it. I try to follow these tutorials and it's like, and then basically you got to write your own Python script. It's like, no, I'm not doing that.
I gotta stick to my serum. Okay.
Yeah. No, totally.
You know.
All right, man. I feel like we pretty much covered everything. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks, USAYBFLOW, so much for coming on. Stay tuned. In another 9 months, we'll have another episode of the podcast.
9 months. No, make it 8 months this time.
Yeah, 8 months exactly. All right, but yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.
I appreciate you so
Let's
much.
go.
Thank you for having me. It means a lot. I guess like a quick message.
Oh yeah,
for everybody watching this.
I think you want to end on.
Never give up.
Never give up. You heard it here first. All right.
There
Peace.
you go.
Yo, what song is it? What song is it? Hey, what song is it? Hey, what song is it?
Bro.
Yeah, keep a band on me, bro. Let's go! This is gonna kill us both.